All right. Okay. Well, you've seen the video of me making the dough. And today, we're going to make actual pizzas. So here we have the dough portioned out. I've done that about an hour ago. From the fridge, they take about 2 hours to kind of come up to temperature and proof. So we're about 1 hour away from making the pizzas. And 1 hour to go is when I walk over to the oven and I start preheating the oven. So normally I put the oven as high as it'll go. I've had ovens that go as high as 575, but this one goes to 525, and I've made them in an oven that goes as low as just 500. It will work. You just adjust how long you put your pizzas in there, and you can see in there, right here, I have a pizza steel. You need one of those or a stone. Either one works just as well. So the time is roughly 1:07. So at 2:07, I'll be able to start forming and making the pizzas. The dough will be ready and the oven will be preheated. Oh. Over here, I've kind of amassed the things we're going to dress the pizza with. So the sauce, I just use crushed tomatoes. And I add about 15 grams of salt and about 6 cloves of crushed garlic. So we'll do that in a little bit. I like to use Maldon flake sea salt. Really, any coarse sea salt. Milton's is good too. Fresh basil. We're making margarita pizzas. So normally you would just have tomato sauce, basil, and then mozzarella cheese. But I like to additionally add just sliced cherry tomatoes. These are mini heirloom tomatoes I got from Trader Joe's. An herb I really like to use with all Italian food, really in place of oregano, whenever oregano is called for, is marjoram. It's got all the good stuff of marjoram, or all the good stuff of oregano, all the sweet flavors, without that strong, kind of bitter, grassy note that oregano can have. And here we have a couple bottles of extra virgin olive oil. And yeah, when I come back, we'll be in some other state of making the pizzas. So I'll see you then. All right, well, this next stage in getting the pizzas ready, we're going to be ready to get those pizzas going probably in about 15 minutes or so. And I'm just going to prepare the pizza sauce. Now, I just used a can of crushed tomatoes. I like Cento. The crushed tomatoes they don't have the certification that they're San Marzano, but they're probably a mixture of San Marzano tomatoes and others. They taste very good, and they've just got a good texture to them. So what I do is I usually have about 6 cloves of garlic that I press directly into the can, and then I add about 15 grams of salt. So I'm just gonna go through that process with you guys. And that's usually a good pizza sauce. Okay. And so,
what's going on, Dan? I'm just doing the sous chef thing.
yeah, I'm making a video, Mom.
Oh, are you on right now?
Yeah. All right. So, there we go. There goes about a third of that garlic. Shave it off into there. Looks like there's a nug on there. Get that off. Pressing garlic is wonderful because you don't have to mince the garlic. But if you want, I would say, the most forward garlic flavor, mincing garlic is still better than pressing it. Oh, there we go. Get that in there. And then this last big clove, a couple of little ones, get that in there. Okay. There we are. All right. Oh, there's a little bit that didn't get in. Cool, cool. And I'm not going to use the flake sea salt to add to the sauce. I'm going to get fine sea salt. So we're going to get our balance here, tear it, cool, cool. Go to the pantry. All right. And I'm just going to add till we get about 15 grams. It's not going to be overly salty. There we go. It's going to be just perfectly seasoned. Cool. Now, you can make about 6 pizzas with this amount of sauce, or you can make pizzas one day and then maybe a pasta dish the next day. This sauce is good enough for such things. All right. Other than that, we've just got basil leaves, tomatoes that have been split, and 2 kinds of cheese. We're going to be adding, 3 kinds of cheese. We're going to be adding some Parmesan. We'll be adding whole milk, what do you call it? The whole milk mozzarella, and Fontina as well. So this is the next installment of the video. We'll be back right after this, I guess. Okay, guys. So now I think we're going to do the thing where we make the pizzas, form them and top them and throw them in the oven. Well, as you can see here, we have the sauce we made. We have got tomatoes that were split, salted, and sprinkled with a little marjoram. We've got a stack of basil leaves. We're going to do about 8 leaves or so for each pie. We've got a bunch of Fontina. We've got a bunch of mozzarella. And we've got Parmesan cheese right here. We have, we're low on this olive oil, the good olive oil. So we're going to have to use the cheap olive oil today, but no big deal. We've got a little bit of that. And somewhere I've got a little silicone brush. There we go. All right. So, but how do we go about making the actual pizza? So over here, I've got a little bit of flour here. That's to dump the dough balls in. And I also want to have, a little bit of flour down on the parchment paper. Spread it out. We don't want too much. The dough is very soft due to the high hydration, but it is very stretchy because it's a high protein flour that we've used. So we're going to grab one of our dough balls here. And we're just going to go about turning it out, stretching it. And stretching it, I'll show you in a moment how we do that. I'm going to plop this in and get it on there, but it may take me may take me a couple minutes to get this going. So I'll come back and we'll talk about stretching in just a moment. Okay, guys. So we've gotten this guy covered with a good amount of flour. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit here and there. And I don't really toss pizzas as much anymore. You can toss pizzas. That's how you get them nice and round. That's how you get them into like a perfect circle. But I just like to kind of pass them through my hand, stretch them out, and they turn out okay. So, and I leave just about a centimeter for the crust. But you go in and you kind of just stretch it out with your hands. A lot of with the pads of your fingers. And you can just kind of pass it between your knuckles. And if you need more flour, you've got a little bit in that bowl right there. So let me put this down. And we may need to take a break, let it relax. I'm gonna grab a little bit here. As you pull on the dough, you strengthen the gluten. So sometimes you need to take a break, give it a minute before you go back to stretching. And the thing is that if you have that high protein dough, it stretches nice and evenly too, because you've got that protein matrix kind of going through the whole pizza. There, I flipped it. This is going to be the top of the pizza. I started out with the bottom of the pizza kind of facing up. And here, I might toss it just to give it a go, to make quick work of the stretching. Tossing is the best way to make a perfectly round pizza. So that's why people do the tossing. So our pizza's getting pretty big. It's getting close. I'm going to throw down a little bit more flour. I'm going to kind of give it a couple passes. There we go. So if you're really good at tossing, it kind of can be like you're showing off, but there's more utility to tossing your pizza dough than just it looking cool. Okay, cool. So this is getting pretty close to the right size. I'm gonna pull it up. And put down a little more flour. Not too much. There we go. Kind of toss it back and forth. And we're getting very close to being about 15 inches. Okay. So this is good. All right. So now comes the time where I'm going to dress it. And then before I slide it into the oven, I'm going to do one last stretch. Okay. So walk over here. First thing we're going to do is put some olive oil down. Oof. Now, there you go. This helps the pizza not to have that gum layer. I've heard people talk about the gum layer, like people that are professional pizzolos, and I kind of just want them to shut up because no one likes that gum layer. My pizzas don't have it, and they're better. So I don't know what the deal is. The emperor has no clothes. So if you don't want that gummy layer on your pizza, spread it with olive oil. It'll be fine. And that was like maybe a tablespoon of olive oil. It wasn't, well, maybe a tablespoon and a half of olive oil. It wasn't that much. Cool. All right. Stretch this out a little bit. So unfortunately, when you've developed gluten, the pizza can shrink too on you. So that's why we do one final stretch at the end. Okay, so olive oil. What comes next is our sauce. I like saucy pizza, so I'm going to put down about 2 ladles. Which, you know, is enough. I like to take it close to the edge. Sometimes I add more sauce. Sometimes I'm a little bit conservative. But I'm feeling like a touch more sauce right now. Ooh, no. Okay, screwed it up. Okay. There we go. All right. Cool. Now, for a margarita, I like to throw down some basil leaves right down on the sauce. Put 4 under the sauce. We'll put like 3 or 4 on top of the sauce. Cool. Mozzarella next. Next I'll go in with mozzarella, and you kind of just have to put as much as you want. Too much cheese is not good, but you'll have to find that out for yourself, how much cheese you like. I would recommend always adding mostly from the perimeter before kind of going into the middle of the pizza, because as the pizza bakes, stuff slides into the center. Cool. So for a margarita, I do olive oil, sauce, basil leaves, mozzarella. Next, I do tomatoes. I know I should have it organized so they're closer to me. And I just drop the tomatoes around the pizza, wherever it looks like there ought to be a tomato. But not too many tomatoes. There we go. I like these tomatoes. They're all different colors. Some of them are underripe, I think. The best tomatoes are kind of underripe, especially on a pizza. Put a little yellow in there. That's cool. Now at this point, you could add a sprinkling of salt. The pizza is very salty, so I'm not going to. Okay. And let's see, I brought the fontina over. I'm going to add a couple leaves of basil. So I'm going to come in and grab like 3 leaves. This is a big leaf. I'm going to split it. There we go. There we go. Have a couple leaves. And then add on top the fontina. Fontina doesn't burn as fast as mozzarella does. Fontina also tastes a little sharper. It's an Alpine cheese. Kind of has that Swiss cheese flavor to it. You can do just fontina. And it would be very good. I've done that before. There we go. And that looks like a good pizza. I think we're ready to do the final stretch, and we'll plop it in the oven. Cool. All right. So I'm going to stretch it out here just like this. little by little. There we go. And we've got a nice big pizza. There we go. My hands are clean, of course. This looks good. This is gonna be good. I'm seeing things. Okay, so I have pizza peels, okay? Just so that you know. I've made pizzas for many years. I have a peels. I even have a turning peel. Oh, but that's not how I land the pizza in the oven. I land the pizza in the oven by scooting it onto the stone with parchment paper. There we go. And get it in there. Slides in there. And I start the kitchen timer for about 8 minutes. That's about how long they take. And at about 4 minutes, I turn them. And at about 6 minutes, I pull the parchment off. So I will check you then. Cool. Okay. So if we look at that timer, you can see 5, 3, 2, 1. And so at 4 minutes, I turn the pizza. Oof. So I get in and I just get that peel underneath it. And I do my best to turn it 180 degrees. There we go. Close it up. And then right at about 2 minutes to go, we'll pull that paper out. Okay. So you can see on that timer, it's just about to pull that paper out from under the pizza. There we go. So I go in with the turning peel, and now I get underneath the pizza and the paper very carefully, and I just scoot it out. Now the pizza is sitting right on that hot metal. You can kind of get it forward there. And that's going to give it a nice crust. Cool. In the meantime, you can just fold this up and toss it in the garbage. Okay. So, after the beeper beeps, we'll come back. Okay, guys, we're getting close. There we go. So that should be enough to cook our pizza, but we can take a peek underneath. So we go in, and that does look like a good pizza. Take a peek underneath, and that does look like a pretty good crust. You see, turn it around. I think it could go a little bit longer, but I'm gonna take it out. Okay. So here's our pizza, and it needs to rest a little while. So right now, it is like boiling lava hot. So that needs to rest for about 5 minutes or so. But while it's resting, I'm gonna dust it with a little bit of Parmesan. Here we go. There we go. Pecorino's good too. There we go. Some people like to add the basil leaves on right now. I like the basil leaves to get wilted. There we go. Add a little bit more. I'm adding quite a bit, but I think it'll be good that way. Okay. So I will come back in about 5 minutes and we'll cut it up. Okay, guys. So it's been resting for about 5 minutes, so it should be good to cut. I've got a plate awaiting. I usually cut it into eighths. So, good. It helps to have a good sharp pizza cutter or a big knife. There we go. If you try to do this when it first comes out, it doesn't really work. The cheese kind of spreads, so it's worth it to wait. There we go. There we go. So pizza margherita, it's all cut up. And I'm gonna take this piece, it looks pretty good. And we can take a look at that crust structure. If I can lower it, get it right in there. It's tough for me to see with this mount. But yeah, you can see how there's good bubbles, not just on the edge, but on the interior of the pizza. And that's what you really want in a good pizza dough. Anyway, guys, this has been my second video where I make the pizza. So yeah, thanks for watching. That's it.